Hey everyone, The Emperor's New Clothes, based on a tale from Hans Christian Andersen. Why is it important to always speak the truth? And what happens when you pretend something is true when it's not? Once upon a time, there lived a vain emperor who loved fancy clothes. He had many suits of clothing, as many as there are days in a year, and he was delighted in showing off his fashions to the people. Well, word of the emperor's love of clothing spread throughout the land, and one day 2 men showed up in the castle with a clever idea. "We are the best tailors in the land," they told the emperor. "We have invented an exquisite new cloth that's just fit for royalty. It is so fine, it is invisible to anyone who's too foolish or dull to appreciate it." "Well, I must have a suit made out of this cloth at once," exclaimed the emperor. And he ordered the men to start weaving at once. The 2 men asked for a loom and silk and gold thread and a room inside the castle. They also asked for 2 bags of gold. Then they went to work, pretending to weave this exquisite cloth. A few days later, the emperor called his servant to him. "Now, go and see what those tailors are doing," the emperor said. "Ask them to display their fine cloth and come back to me and let me know what you think of it." Well, the emperor's servant went into the room where the men were working. "Welcome, welcome," they cried. Come and see the wonderful cloth that we've made. It's almost finished. What do you think?" Well, the servant looked closely at the cloth that was not even there. "I can't see it," he thought to himself. "I must be terribly foolish and dull. I can't let the tailors or the emperor know that the cloth is invisible to me." So the servant replied, "Oh, it's the most beautiful cloth I have ever seen." And when the servant returned to the emperor, he praised their cloth. Soon the men announced that the cloth was finished, and that they were ready to measure the emperor for his new clothes. They appeared in the emperor's bedroom, preparing or pretending to carry a large roll of cloth. "Here's the cloth, Your Majesty," they said. "We've worked day and night to finish it. Just look at the colors. Feel the fine weave. It's truly fit for an emperor." Well, of course, the emperor could not see the cloth, nor could he feel it between his fingers, and he grew nervous and a little scared. "I must be foolish. I must be too dull. I can't see the cloth," he thought to himself, "but I can't let anyone else know." So the emperor praised the cloth and let the 2 men measure him for a suit. "Now, you must finish this suit in 2 days," said the emperor. "I wish to wear it to the big musical performance that's being held in my honor." "Oh, of course, Your Majesty," said the men, laughing behind the emperor's back. How easy it was to deceive the silly emperor. They shut themselves up in the room, and after 2 days, they presented the emperor with imaginary clothes made out of this imaginary cloth that has never even existed. News of this wonderful cloth spread throughout the land. and all the people were eager to see the emperor in his new clothes. So when the emperor rode through the streets on his way to the musical performance, everyone in town gathered to greet him with cheers and applause. "Wonderful," the people cried. "What wonderful, beautiful cloth! Look at those colors!" Now, of course, the people could not see the cloth, but they were too ashamed to admit it. Then suddenly, a young child called out from the crowd, "Father, look, the emperor has no clothes." "Shh, shh," said the father. "Everyone will think we're fools." "But the kid's right," another voice shouted from the crowd. "The emperor is in his underpants." Yeah, everyone agreed. Then they all began to laugh at their own foolishness. But the poor emperor could not laugh. He was too embarrassed. He went back to the castle and found that the two men had already left with his gold. He spent the rest of the night thinking about how silly he had been, and he missed the musical performance entirely. So, the lesson of the story: always tell the truth.